600 miles into that ocean crossing, he abandoned ship.
Your personal story, right, became world known and world famous through this documentary, like the Tinder Swindler. How do you process something like that?
We felt it a bit with the marketing they were putting in. But when it kind of blew up and it became the most watched documentary on Netflix, that's where I was like, that is an insane amount of people who's watched. So it is instant. And I wasn't ready. So everything was kind of proactive and everyone was contacting you, wanting you for different things. Even Andrew Tate contacted.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I contacted. That was before I understood who he was. But he had made like a 1.5 hour commentary of the Tinder Swindler, and everyone was like writing in my comments on Instagram, Andrew Tate supports you. You need Andrew Tate. And I was like, who is this guy? Like, what are you talking about? Watched it a bit, and he just hated Simon. Like, he thought he was a big douche, and we needed his help to take him down. So I sent him a message because that was kind of funny. I was like, yeah, hi. And he was so charming on these messages. And now that we know how he works, I was like, eerily. So he wanted me and Pernilla to go to his podcast in Romania. I'm very happy I didn't do that. But what I mean is that there's a lot of different people coming at you. And if you don't have proper guidance and people to actually, you can go into, what if I would have gone there? Horrible.
We had a guy that was on the team the whole time, training for a year and a half. And he's a good guy, by the way. Like, he's a good guy, smart and all that stuff, good rower. But like somewhere along the line, he was like, he fell out of that something greater that we like had created. And we all saw it, like we saw it. And when we were at the start line, which is in the Canary Islands off the coast of Northwest Africa over there, and like you're at the start line for 2 weeks, and we were with like all the other teams, and it's a small island with a small town. So you're like going to the bar every night, and he didn't want to do any of that. He was like not with the team. He was in his room, holed up. And I knew at that moment, I was like, he shouldn't go with us. But like, what are we doing? Like a week into it, like we're about to go. So, and really at that point, you have two options as a leader, and this is transferable. This is for everybody listening right now. It's like everyone wants to be part of something greater than themselves. We know this. Yeah, it's inherent in us. But sometimes they don't want to be part of your something greater. And at some point, you either have to convince them to be part of something greater, or give them the proverbial plane ticket home. And at that moment, I knew that I couldn't get him in, and I didn't have the courage to give him the plane ticket. And 600 miles into that ocean crossing, he abandoned ship. Literally, we had a sick teammate who had to be evacuated, and when that sailboat came to evacuate our sick teammate, he left too, and left us there with 2,400 miles left to go, me and my remaining teammate. So I say that because that's a harsh lesson. I hope nobody's in their proverbial middle of the Atlantic Ocean when they have to do that. Either they have to cut somebody, or they have to, or the person just leaves. But when you start to see those red flags, you've got to make a decision sooner than later.
When I was at McKinsey, I had to host like the annual Christmas party every year, and it's actually on the internet, but we made like this. I had to sing this song about life in consulting, and
you sang the song.
I had to sing the song. It sounds like two cats like fighting each other, but I sang a song. And it was basically about life consulting, and it kind of tied in all these little different nuances that like only they would know about. And there's this one part where we talk about the things that we loved and the things that we hate. We hated using this app called Box, and then everybody would kind of boo and like snicker. And then there was this one app that we had called Raidu, where like the moment that I said, oh, like get your expenses approved on Raidu, like the crowd went wild, right? Because people, I don't know if you know anything about consulting, but like you do a lot of like reimbursables, and then like people love like that. People love that feeling of like getting their own money back. Yeah. Right? Loudest cheer of the entire song. So then fast forward a couple of years. I'm at some like fintech festival or something. One of those like ones that was total waste of time. Terrible conference, to be honest, right? But some guy, some German guy like pings me on the app. It's like, hey, just from the VC. Be interested in like learning more about what you do. Then it's one of those like random calls that every entrepreneur gets. Took the call, and then yeah, pretty cool business. Would love to introduce you to the founders. And then I go into the next call with the partner. He was the guy who built and sold that Raidu app. And you can imagine like, especially like if you're running an expensive, you never actually meet the people who are using the app. So you can imagine how we immediately hit it off. So he was the one who recently like just did our latest investment round.
Wow, that's cool.
Did he know that you had sung that song?
We both had no idea. But the moment that I heard Raidu, I was like, the first.
Did you like whack the video out straight away? You're like, you've got to see this.
I said,
You've got to see this. Give me all your money now.
I said, before we start, there's something that I need to show you. And, like, he went in completely not knowing, like you could just see in the video. Like, I wish I would have videotaped it, but you can see his heart melt.
That's so cool.
In the first few minutes.
That's a deal closer there, isn't it?
Yeah. They should have used that in ads or something.
So if there's one thing you've learned, it's just sing songs about potential future investors.
I have an excellent network, and but I work on that a long time. And I got to interview Richard Branson because I'm such a Beatles fan. I decided to become entrepreneur for the city of Liverpool, which they thought was a good idea. So I'm well connected with the Beatles industry now, which is fun. But they said, we're thinking of bidding for a thing called the Global Entrepreneurship Congress, which is well known. It's run by the Kaufman Foundation. I said, oh yeah, it's like the Olympics, only easier. You just say, we'll spend $500,000 to fly everybody in and put Paul McCartney on the front and we'll win. So we did. Then Kaufman suggested they got a big VIP person to open the day, get everybody talking about it. And they said, we're thinking about Richard Branson. What do you think? I said, well, great idea. If you get Richard Branson, can I interview him? They said, if you get Richard Branson, then you can interview him. It took me about 9 months, and I interviewed him 4 or 5 times before he committed to Liverpool. So I started interviewing him. I said, let me see if I got this straight. You started off outside your boarding school in a phone box selling advertising for a magazine that didn't exist. So that went well, and then eventually we did get him for, it was, 13,000 people. But by then, I'd done him 5 times. I had all the videos, and I was literally being counted down from the podium to bring him on. And he knew me by then. He said, oh, Mike, it's going to be great. And he knew what stories I was going to ask him.